Hello. I don't know. Since the 4.5, I feel like I have to reset my zoom on my editor every time I start a stream, or not even stream, but every time I open a project, which is kind of annoying. I wonder what changed that changes every time. Hello, hello. It's a game dev time. We're continuing our platformer. I've actually done a lot. I wanted to simplify some of the behavior tree thing that isn't really behavior tree right now, but maybe I could make it more entity-based behavior tree that is minimally coding. But we shall see how that goes out. It is all here. Another day, another stream. Stream viewer. Live now. Twitch link, which I'll never remember. And then YouTube. Let's see, copy, paste. Of course, when to get started here. Have been very on and off. I think it's always the case that towards the end of the year, there's so much going on. So much events, responsibility, so much vacation. Not really going anywhere, but you know, taking my time to spend time with friends and family and all that. As we do here. And been pretty inspired to make new videos, so I've been working quite hard at it. But here we are. Oh shoot, that is really loud. Okay. Thank you to whoever. Dev Kaiser. Resub for 14 months. Thanks for the resub. Welcome back. Haven't seen you in a while, huh? Dev says, what's up? Kaiser says, ew, responsibilities. Yeah, that's what it goes. Void with the lurk. Hello, hello. Happy holidays. All. We're doing what we can. We're doing what we can. I have launched my beginner course, Godot, as well. I should probably include that on my YouTube link, huh? I mean, obviously, I keep saying this. Obviously, it's not for any of you guys who's already started. Hey, Zuzu. I already know how to code and all that stuff. So it's kind of weird to advertise you guys. But what is not weird is I know you know friends and family and people that probably would like to learn. And it's a good place to start. So yeah, that's been happening. What do I have here so far? You want to see? You want to see my attempt at Hollow Knight? It's actually impossibly hard. I really, not released, but I put it on itch as an example to show. This was made as part of the lesson plan. It turns out platformer is actually very hard to make, especially if you want to make it good. So I have this, obviously. I made this, I drew everything. And I was like, you know what? I want to see a simple level design. So you can see there's a health, there's a life, I can bounce on things. And then obviously there's an environment. Now, don't get me wrong. I didn't do it the perfectly right way when I implemented it. Oh my gosh. It's hard. I don't think I can, like, there's no win condition. There's no win condition, but there certainly is the top of the floor. And obviously I didn't really balance this. And I'll let you know that there is no coyote time either. So catching the corner is really difficult. Dev Kaiser says, yeah, it's about time I start learning. Should I do game development or just straight into coding? Is there really a difference? I mean, okay. My recommendation is always doing both. Like, yeah, you want to open up by game development without too much coding, but learning how it works. And then, because that kind of gears you up for, it's better on the long run. Oh, I did it. This is my first time doing this. Okay. It is possible. All right. So that's the game. I'd say doing both. You know, obviously you got to change your ratio. The coding course not coding course, the game development course that is meant to be like, oh, start your game in a month or make a complete game in a month and you learn how to, teach yourself blah, blah, blah. I have a lesson plan here, if I can. This what, even though I say, hey, like minimal code, I do make sure I teach concepts about coding because it's important. Even if you're stealing or like bringing code from somewhere else, it's important to know why things work or how things work. So I'd say both. If anyone claims that it's entirely possible to do absolutely no code, I don't think you can go far. That's my claim. But I'm gonna update my YouTube link real quick to include the include my new course that I'm launching. Now, of course, this is my first time, so it's on the move. I do have a plan. I have a lot of the things pre-recorded and lesson planned out, but I am hoping. I am hoping to, what do you call, update it as I go, as the feedback comes along, So let's see. I'm gonna save this. But this is it, Dev Kaiser. If you have anyone that you know that could use something like this. It is what it is. Word of mouth helps. I mean, you trust me, right? But yeah, we'll go through it. But yeah, this is what I've been working on, and I'm trying to make it so that a lot of these parts are like, what do you call? Not compartmentalized. What's the word I'm looking for? Composition based, like a composition design pattern, so that a lot of the features can be just kind of plugged in. Okay, it's really annoying because my right earphone is not working. Like it's like going on and off. So I need to either get a new one. I should probably order a new one soon. Also, I don't know where I left my phone. I'll be back just a sec. I gotta find my phone real quick. I'll be back. Dev Kaiser says, I trust you. I keep subbing. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying my best. The argument here is that I'm trying my best to teach in the right way, but if I'm not, I'm like, very open to changing the course to serve appropriately. And it comes with like once a week, like classroom setting, Q&A type of thing. And all those things will, only thing I want is I want whoever signs up to be able to feel like they can make a game, and they know how to learn and they know how to progress within a month, 30 days specifically, as long as you follow along and commit it. But we'll see. Anyways, I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to go find my phone and then I'll... All right, found it. It was buried in the blanket. Okay. Zuzu's here. My internet, it seems like my YouTube side of the internet is going a little slow. Slow as in like it's lagging. A little annoying. Maybe I should just turn off the music. Here, I'm gonna just turn off the music. We'll work in silence, the old school library way. and we'll be fine here. Okay. Just making sure everything is set up. Oh, getting slow started here. Life is intriguing either way. So far, I had this on my enemy character behavior. I thought this was pretty cool. In my opinion, it's pretty cool. I have a character behavior right here. So you can see the enemy character takes this like ledge detection stick, hitbox, hurtbox, and it takes the character config. There's a movement controller where you can name all the animations. And then like there's a character behavior here, which is what you program to make it do whatever you want it to do. And you can see right here. Hopefully this is very readable, but you can see right here it says, hey, if the character is near player and is allowed to attack, then attack, or face the player and attack. This one says, if the character can run and is already walking, so it's like it's allowed to move, and then it's near the ledge, then turn around, that kind of stuff. Very basic AI. Obviously, there's a better way to do it descriptively by doing behavior tree. But basically, that's what's determining this character from going back and forth. That's how it's like doing that. I find that fun. And then when I'm near it, it goes, ooh, oof, boof, boof, boof. Very fun, very fun. So I think I want to clean up this code a little bit so that it feels a little bit more easier to understand, more plug and play, and more customizable, right? Right. Ah, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Also, this doesn't have any like hurt animation right now, where like you run into things and it's just like blink away or whatever. That's a little difficult. We'll see. Basically, you can do, you know, I think the trick is to take damage and then stand on the spike. Oh, jeez. All right, whatever. We're not here to play my game right now. But yeah. Look at how the level is made. It's just I mean, it's kind of silly. It's like a lot of entities. I copied and pasted a bunch of spikes here. You know. But maybe this is how it needs to be done. Death trap, yeah. This part is really hard. I don't know if it if there's a way to make this easier. I guess I could like move this closer. Maybe like provide more gap here. Here. I do think that if I do this, it might be better if I move it away and then have it higher, maybe like this. No, that's gonna bump. I want people to go, okay, so maybe I lower it once like that. And this one's gonna be like this. Maybe that's gonna be easier. All right. And then the spikes, we gotta make it so that these are over here. This one is over here. I mean, I feel like it shouldn't be so difficult that once you know how to play, like it can't be, like it feels impossible to do. Movement feels pretty good, by the way. I make sure so that like the jump and hold long, short jump all feels like kind of smooth. Oh, that was much better. Okay. Oh, geez. All right. I need a tech. I need a press B to run so you jump further, not higher. Like if you press B, you run faster, which means you're starting. You get to move more while jumping. Oh my gosh. Jeez. It's still hard, but it makes sense. Okay. Good stuff. So look. These are all animation, extra stuff we don't need. Character body here, and then we have the character controller. All right, let's think about this in a kind of like putting it together quickly way. I drop in the character controller, meaning this character is now something that I control. This property, this node, demands that I provide what it's controlling, so the subject of the control, pretty easy. And then it demands that I share the movement node. Movement node is the list of movements that the character can do. And character can do a lot of things here. And this one is responsible for keeping track with all the states and whatnot for moving. So it has stuff like turn around, face the target, can you control the movement, can run, can attack, all those things. So, and this one has associated animation here. That's fine, with a little bit of gravity force thing going on for jump logic. Yeah. I think that's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. You can change the key input by naming different parts, different things. So I can change the key easily. And then I can customize animations. That's all good. Let's make a run. Hold B to run. So that's character controller. I think that would be run toggle, I guess. Platformer has a lot of the hold to run functions, right? So it wouldn't be so wild to do it. Run. Run input action is going to have something. And then on the input map, we're going to do a run action here. At a run action. So far for keyboard, I said A for run, spacebar for jump. I'm going to say S to run. And then I'm going to put in this key, Nintendo Y, Xbox X, left action for run button. And the action itself, we're going to call this run input. And under the physics process, I think we're just simply allowing for acceleration to a top speed when the run is held. I don't know if normally people make it so that the run happens immediately. As soon as you press B, you move fast. I think it ramps up. That's going to feel the best. So we have character movement here, can control movement, and then we're setting velocity directly when we're doing control movement here. And we're doing that based on the walk speed. Dev Kaiser says, oh, my internet is being crap. Can you tell me about your course? My internet is also being crap. 30-day starter course that goes over basic coding, concepts of Godot, making a platformer, a simple platformer, to learn and finish a playable experience with player control, enemy collision, and map making. That's the course. Hopefully that makes sense. Does that make sense? I don't know. I might have summarized it way too hard, but that's the course. I don't know what pricing we arrived at actually. That information is in the link, so if you click through the link, it'll be very obvious. We'll see how it goes. If the pricing feels unfair, let me know too, because that's something we need to figure out as well. But I think, given the time that I will be putting into it, I think I'm giving it a pretty fair pricing for a month course. But we'll see. It's no more than. It's definitely less than $100 from what I can tell. But yeah, I don't know the exact pricing, and maybe who knows? Maybe if it doesn't sell well enough, we'll do some sales or not. Okay, so if we are holding down an input, I want to say var is run pressed, which will be just input button of action. Instead of just press, I just want to check if it's being pressed. It's going to be run input action. When I'm controlling the unit, if the run is pressed, right? We want to ramp up the speed, I think. We have, let's say, walk velocity, which will equal to something. And then if it's run, then it's going to do something else. So at base, this is the base run speed, right? And then it's basically get whatever is bigger. It's going to get between the base speed, this is the minimum speed, and then the actual velocity. Because we're saying we're going to make it faster and faster. We're going to increase the velocity as long as the run is pressed. We're going to have the run acceleration, which I guess we could define it here. Run accel will equal be like, let's say like 10 meters per second times delta. And it's going to increase it, but we want to cap this, right? We're going to say run is pressed and the velocity is, already at the cap. We'll say export max run speed. I guess that could be a configuration thing. So we're going to put that under configuration. Character config, player. We're going to write a new configuration that says walk speed. And then we have run speed already. Okay. So we're going to say run speed as a cap. Movement. Proto says, sir, YouTube stream title may need updating. Oh, has it not updated? The Streamlabs just sometimes doesn't update. Let me. Okay. Here, we're going to copy this. There you go. Live. Thank you, Protoss, for letting me know. Shadow Wizard says, hello. Hello, Shadow Wizard. Shadow Wizard says, I come with the express purpose of telling to you one random fact about Minecraft or one terribly unfunny joke. Does this interest you? Yes. Give me a... Do I get to choose which one? Or do you just flip a coin? Because I'm leaning towards terribly unfunny joke. Because I would love to hear that. Give me the terribly unfunny joke. Yes, please. I'll take that. I'll take that off of your mind. Share your burden. Shadow says, all right, what do you call a salmon with a bow tie? Salmon with a bow tie. I don't know. What do you call it? Sophisticated. Oh, ha ha ha. Oh, it's a pun. It's a bit of a stretch. It's a bit of a stretch. I you know what? I appreciate the sentiment. Dev says, do we shame Shadow now? Yes, public shaming. Time for some public shaming. Maybe that's what Shadow was aiming for. Shadow's actually really into public shaming and was like, you know what is the best way to do it is to go into a small streamer's stream and then tell a unfunny joke and have everybody shame me for it. Now that's somebody's kink. All right, so what we're gonna do here, we said, I mean, I think I do need to move it around a little bit, but basically we're gonna say, okay, subject, control subjects, character state, and its run speed. Wait, is it not config? Run speed. As long as the walk velocity is less than the run speed, we're gonna ramp up the run. Now, technically, I could even do acceleration as a configuration, like so, and then put acceleration as part of the configuration I can configure. I would say I'll start with, I don't know, like 30. Let's do 30 to start. Let's see if it works. Let's see if it works. I have a feeling that it might not work. Okay, so we have regular movement here. And I'm holding it. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see the significant ramp up. What I can do, I'm gonna do a little cheating here. I'm gonna put a label on top here. And what I'm going to do is do a quick process that'll update this text to be basically the value, character or velocity, x plus meter per second, or pixel per second, like so. And then this will happen if it's ready. Node ready. And see what happens here. We gotta convert this to string. All right. There's some nuances to this control that I need to change, but we'll find out. Shadow says you were warned of the you were warned of the joke's unfunny nature, and yet you still requested it. I do not name me a perverse individual in need of degradation. I'm sorry. I am sorry. Shadow says you could have selected the Minecraft trivia. This is a fault of not this poor wizard. Exactly. The wizard is faultless. Though I would have to say, tell me the Minecraft facts now. Okay, the velocity is not changing clearly, so I need to do something about this real quick. Ishanbot says, "Yo, hi Ishan, welcome." A6 Giddy as well on YouTube. Yo, hi. C++? No, we're doing GD script here. I like to work exclusively with GD script when it comes to Godot, even though I am familiar with C++ and other languages, because I believe in improving the easy scripting language for people. Logan says, Devez, I have returned. Hey, Logan. Welcome. Welcome back. New year, new me? Is that what kind of thing that we're doing? Ishan says, I never get the languages, lol. What do you mean you don't get the languages? Like why there are different languages? I mean, languages serve different purposes. Sometimes people just make it for the sake of making it and then it becomes something. Logan says, let me switch to my Twitch. Yeah, okay. Switch it because I don't know who Logan is. I'm guessing I recognize your Twitch name. Shadow says, in Minecraft, the passive mobs pathfind up hills and go and to higher elevations. This is because the sheep's unquenchable thirst for spelunking. Wait, is this true? I don't think they have personality, but I like that. I like to think that they have this like thirst for spelunking. Val says, yo, I'm just starting game dev. How do I learn methods? How do you learn methods? Okay, well, first of all, we got to talk about the terms. What do you mean by methods? Are you specific? Because method is a computer science term, is a coding term, like function. Method of a class is a thing. Unless you're talking about what is the best method to learn. Well, we know, Val. The best way to learn is to join my 30-day Godot starter course, starter system right now. It's out. It's my first course. It's available. You can click the link that's available in the description, in fact, and start your game dev journey now. Bork says, why use Godot and not Unreal or Unity? Godot, open source. It has its benefits. Community is robust. A lot of people like to provide a lot of interesting tools for it. There is later on the implication of not having to pay anyone for using the tool. If the tool goes out of business, in quotes, because there's no really entity to go out of business with, it is forever supported as long as there's community. It's the lifetime of the community. And also, it just feels good. It feels good to be part of the community, and it's free, and it's like going well. That's my main reason. Now, another thing is like Unity used to be good for indies, but ever since it went public, it has its own issues. I don't know. If we have to pick. Now, over here, we don't really say you have to do this engine. You can do whatever engine you want. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what engine you use because everything is applicable all everywhere. Eventually, you can learn to do everything. I would actually recommend, after choosing an engine and having experienced it, and let's say you finish your first project, try out different engines if you feel like you want to have something else. Val says, like, get local mouse position. How do I learn methods? Okay. Yeah, I see. I think what you're asking is like, how do you know what methods or functions are there by default? Well, obviously you can define your own functions, then those are available. Few ways to do it. In Godot itself, if you hold your control button, you see how like when you hover over, you get to see these like underline. This is a way to see the definition. Now, if it is a default nodes, then you can click on these and opens up a documentation. Oh my gosh, that is really loud in my ear. Hold on. The Berry world is really loud. There it is. So if you open up a documentation, it tells you what is meant to be intended by the designer and the creator of the node itself. And then you can also see all these properties, and properties are functions, right? So you can see this one is property, and then you have all these methods, and you can see these are some default methods that exist and what it returns. If you're really confused to being like, hey, I don't know what they do, you can also click on it and it tells you. That's how we learn specifically. I mean, that's one way to start. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay. Well, I think Shadow has been chatting here. Ishan says, every time I join a stream and think, what language is that? I always get it wrong, Lamau. Oh, I see. Well, I mean, this one is hard to guess just because it's not a very like widely used language. It's very Python-like, is what people say. Not Sanctum says, here we go. Now it seems better. What seems better? What happened? I do think that I have some connection issue right now, which is kind of annoying. Maybe I need to, I'm going to turn off my Wi-Fi on my phone, hoping that helps. Sanctum says, methods are same as functions. I guess she might know it from Java. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Methods and functions are basically the same thing. Method came from a object-oriented design, specifically Java, the concept. And then function comes from the functional programming, historically like C's and assembly. Not Sanctum says, I guess it all just depends what they want to learn. Godot was hard for me to get used to. I found myself really learning better with Unity, specifically Unity Learn. Hey, look, available tools are a huge part of learning as well. I had no problem learning either Unity or Godot. For me, Unity was harder just because it had more stuff right from the get-go. It's like too much to navigate. Like I liked seeing just code and simple things, especially because I'm not usually one to follow tutorials and search things. I usually learn from documentation. I find it easier to navigate, and that was not good with Unity. Shadow says, see, poor wizard had excellent Minecraft trivia and still got kink shamed in the court of public opinion. Injustice, I say. Well, public can always be justice. You know what I mean? Thanks for the follow or sub, Leon, on YouTube. Let's see. Val says, yo, thanks. I was lost. No, it's okay. Hopefully that helps. Otherwise, we'll figure it out together. Bork says, I'm in my college holidays, currently studying electrical engineering, but I would like to learn programming. I don't know if I go to web dev path or gaming path. Very similar. Web dev will teach you to, I guess, get a job in that space. And then a lot of the concepts do translate. Though I would say you find more satisfaction in gaming, especially if you're already doing electrical engineering, right? So things like if you find electrical engineering satisfying, the learning of that, like when you were doing logic gate, like hardware programming, stuff that happens in electrical engineering, then you have the knack and thirst for diving deep. So it would be more relevant to do game. Or if you say, you know what, I understand everything in this like base electrical engineering and a hardware level, and then the opposite side is application level, which is purely UI and UX, then you can like encapsulate two ends of the extremes of the programming. That way, maybe you can fill the gap in between easier later. That could be the goal. I mean, it is a hard question to answer. Ishan says, I love those berries. Haha, thank you. I love this one. I love that I made this. I love collecting berries. I like that people like to collect the berries. We need to make Santa berry, but I guess I already missed the season, so maybe not. Sanctum says, as you heard from Devez, it's all your preference. I couldn't wrap my head around Godot's node structure and stuff. Unity reminded me more of the normal IDE mixed with Blender. I can explain it, do some research before you try out an engine. Not so much that you end up not trying, but just enough to set it up and do simple tutorials for basics. Yeah. And once again, this is a perfect time to mention that I just launched a beginner course for Godot, which is available in the description on YouTube if you're on YouTube. Otherwise, you can ask me. It's available. But it's Godot. So it is my belief, after having experienced like professional work field and everything, that it really doesn't matter which engine you end up using, because what's important is learning the concept and then a learning to learn. Like, honestly, the biggest part of the experience and building up knowledge is not building up knowledge for a specific tooling. Granted, that is a huge part. It's about how much fear do I have jumping into something that I don't know at all. And if you're used to doing that a lot, then you go, oh, I know how to figure it out. It didn't work because of this. I forgot to change a variable here. So let's see if this will help. I have a feeling this plus is actually wrong, because we need to do this like absolute value as well. Let's do this. Let's do this. What we're going to do is, this is the signage signal, right? So we're going to have between this and this. And then we're going to, this is the walk speed. And then the acceleration will increase and decrease the walk speed. And at the end, we're going to multiply it to the directional vector. All right. I can already kind of see a side effect that it's going to cause, but so we have this. And I'm going to hold the B. Ooh. Okay, it needs to be, I feel like it needs to accelerate faster, right? Like I feel like it should have been top speed already. So let's change the configuration here. We're going to make the acceleration to be 100. And I think I'm going to make it 360 as top speed. Okay. Ooh, that feels pretty solid. Hold on. Is this an accident? Oh, as soon as I release the run button, I think the horizontal velocity needs to reset. Sanctum says, question for Ez, how would you recommend someone to go about getting a job in the gaming industry from indie to AAA? Because I'm studying computer science and pursuing game dev in my own time. Have no idea how to start making a portfolio for applications if necessary. Okay. I'm biased. I am very biased because my professional experience comes from non-gaming industry. I was in Amazon, I was in Google. I was a backend engineer, I was a full stack engineer working on services. However, I did get a peek into the gaming world because I worked in a branch of the company at some point that was closer related to gaming. But unfortunately, the bias comes from the fact that because the whole company was Amazon, even their gaming branch, while they picked up a lot of the like gaming industry related standards, they still were overarching, like there still were overarching rules and standards and guidelines that were implemented by the company itself. So it feels a little different. However, there were a lot of people there that I was friends with and coworkers with that came from places like Bungie and all those other like big gaming companies, seniors from those areas, right? And you know, they were always mentioning about the portfolio as a big part of getting started, having like little games and experience. Because yes, you do need coding at base, just like any programming job. You need to know data structure and algorithm. You need to know how to work with graphs and all those things. And in addition, you need to know all these other concepts that are specific to gaming that you'll naturally understand from experiences. So that's my advice. I'm sure somebody else who's in the chat who's working in the big industry, correct me and, you know, implement or input your own opinion on that. That's my perspective. Conco says, hi, dude, what you making? I'm making a little platformer game that is like Hollow Knight like on Godot. Not only because I want to kind of make a plug-inable codes and template and plugin where I can make any kind of platformer game easily for game jams or future prototypes. But plus, I'm using this as my base or target for my Godot course that I'm selling that just opened up. So far so good. Sanctum says, thanks, Says. Appreciate it a lot. Maybe I should keep working on my prototypes and all. No, those are very important. Okay. Industry standard, especially if you're trying to get interviews with a big company or a company that are established, behavioral question is a must, right? So technical is easy. You just do coding test. 1, do you know your stuff? Database, data structure, and algorithm. Easy. You should know all your arrays and hash sets and maps and all those data structures and when to use it and what the bigos are. That's across the board. That's a very basic knowledge. Second, company specific algorithm, like Google is very sensitive on graph theory. Amazon is very sensitive on array for some reason, and organization. And then like server structures. And then or game would be probably like, you know, launching methods. And then the behavioral comes through where even if you are a first time candidate, they ask you about your experience with working with people. Because at the end of the day, companies really don't care how skilled you are at the work you're doing in the silo that you work in. You need to be teachable because no matter how smart or special you are, there's absolutely no way that you have nothing to learn. The fact is, you have a lot to learn, and that learning is adapting to the culture, right? Or knowing how and when to challenge this culture And that's what we're looking for, right? That's what like social looking up is, right? So you could be really brilliant person, but then you're like really bad at explaining yourself or communicating your thoughts, then you're kind of useless, right? Like go make your own company if you're that kind of person. So, those are in order to highlight those things, you really need to actually have group projects. That helps a lot in talking about how you deal with certain type of personalities. Actually, the meme is that people talk about how like, oh, POV, you're in a group project and then you're doing everything and that there's one person that doesn't do anything. That actually helps you in terms of talking about your experience, right? Because you have an example of dealing with that situation. Now, you don't have to be 100% honest and truthful about sharing what you actually did or what you felt. You could use that as like the basis of feeling, so that that feeling is authentic, the frustration is authentic, and then you can formulate how to talk about that based on what the company culture calls for. So not Sanctum says, thanks as appreciate a lot. Maybe I should keep working. This is the type of stuff you don't find on Reddit. Really valuable information. I can't thank you enough. Hey, I appreciate that. That's very kind words you're saying. I'm sure if you dig deep enough, there's something about everything somewhere, but yeah, at least you get to ask me directly. You get to hear my opinion. I feel like a huge boomer that's talking about back in my days because I've been working in the industry for like 10 plus years now. I'm like ancient now, right? I still feel young, but I think as far as the industry is concerned, I'm really old. Things have changed. So take everything I say with a grain of salt. Okay. So we were running, acceleration was happening. I wanted the acceleration to reset when I touch the ground, right? Like I don't want it to ramp up if I'm in the air, right? If I'm in the air, it's whatever speed I launched off with, it should stay. First of all, is it already doing that? I don't know. So I'm gonna run, jump. No, it keeps increasing. So first of all, I'm gonna do this ramp up only if the character um, control subject is on floor. Ramp up when the run is pressed and is on the floor. Also, if the run is released, instead of pressed, it's released, right? If you know what? Here. Character movement can be controlled if it is pressed. Do all that. Over here, if run is not pressed, then we're going to reset the velocity to the base speed. The base speed right here. So we can do two things here. Otherwise, if the run is not pressed, we're going to reset the velocity and then we're going to use that. Hopefully that'll work. Net Sanctum says, good to be back, Az. Hopefully I'll be around more often. Hope you had a good Christmas and wishing you Happy New Year. Goodbye, Az. Bye, chat. Okay, bye, Sanctum. Thanks for stopping by. That was great. Okay. All right. So if I release the run button, it stops immediately. And if I'm in the air, it doesn't increase. Seems like it's doing well. All right, we're going to change the acceleration because I still feel like the character is not accelerating fast enough. So we're going to change the config here. We're going to say acceleration is maybe like 200. Hopefully that just kind of works. Okay. I don't know if this is fast enough. I need to get rid of that label because I can't. I'm looking at the number that it's really hard to feel the feeling of the gameplay. It still feels a little. I don't know. It still feels like it's tiny bit too slow. Eh. No. And of course, as soon as I get a hit, probably I need to reset velocity. I wonder if that's like a character state. Ah! Oh, I did it. Okay, hold on. Okay. I think I'm going to increase the acceleration a little more. 250. And then do 380 for top speed. I feel like the lateral speed right now is not resetting on hit. I'm going to say it's okay right now. Doesn't feel too bad. Hepta says Ezra is the best Latino streamer. Not this again. Hepta says Ezra is the best Latino stream on Twitch. Thank you for furthering representation of the Hispanic community in the Twitch developer community. Yeah, no problem. No, honestly though, like I wouldn't mind if you feel that way. I guess what I do mind is that I don't want to like. There's something called actually, with something that you should be sensitive of. There's something called like Hispanic baiting, where there are a group of people or some people in the public community that's not actually Hispanic, but they are like baiting and pretending to be, or not denying that, and saying that they represent certain culture just to get their support, which is inappropriate. Wait, why do I still feel like the ramp up happens so slow? I feel like the ramp up is still too slow. I'm going to increase it even more. So I don't know. I got to be careful with agreeing to such a thing. Hefta says that's new. No, it's not new. It's happened before. Like TV personalities a lot. Whoa, wait, look! I created this was not intentional. Like if you run, you can just kind of run the gap, and this I didn't program this. It just happened to work. I love that. That feels great. Deadman Kaiser says, "Oh dang, is that Pixel Jumper number 6, the Pirate Pixel Pete's Revenge? I've had this on pre-order since forever. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that you recognize it. Yes, it is a Pixel Peter number 6, a long-awaited and to the popular series." No, Deadman says yes, Dev Kaiser. Dev Kaiser, yeah, I can see your chat. What do you mean? I've been answering. Have I not been reading your stuff? Green on YouTube says, do you draw out or plan any of your level designs, or do you just start making them instantly on your PC? If this is like a legitimate game, I do draw it out. Because I like planning way too much. I really believe in the whole like difficulty curve. So typically, I talked about this in one of the recent videos when I was talking about the game design of addictive game. You do need to plan it out because there's a thought process of like, okay, well, you can understand this intuitively. I like to define things that are pretty obvious and intuitive. This one I just drew it out immediately on the scene because it's like it's not that important. I'm making this as a demo sample just to see like if I can do it. But if it's like a real game, then you really need that ramp up of learn new information and struggle, right? Learn new information and struggle, get used to it, get better, right? you got better, and with that information, with that new skill, you defeat challenges and feel the satisfaction of applying your new knowledge. And then you hit a wall. A new information is required. And that can come as different flavors, right? You could say jump, learn how to jump, learn how to jump precisely, learn how to jump long and precisely, learn how to jump at the right time with the long distance precisely. Like, that's a ramp up. But sometimes games overdo that and be like, instead of using the same mechanic in a different application to do that ramp up, sometimes they just add new mechanics too early. Okay, you just learn about jumping. And then all these other things that you can do with jumping, before taking care of that, I'm giving you new ability to work with. Which one do you get better at? I mean, that could be an interesting choice. Player can be like, okay, I can choose to be better at jumping, or I can be better at parrying, for example. I mean, that's a choice. That's an interesting choice. So in that sense, like with that curve and stabilization, I think planning is good. So therefore, I do plan. This is a long way to answer whatever you just asked. Am I the Bible? Do I hold the Bible of game design? I don't. So once again, everything I say, like, I just get tired of saying this is just my opinion, because it is just my opinion. And I know everybody's smart enough to know that this is just opinion, but I still feel the need to say that. But yeah, let's see. Hepta says, what is Hispanic baiting that's new? No, that happens. Dave Kaiser says, fantastic. The chat went black for me for a minute there. Oh, you're really struggling with your internet, huh? Dev says, oh, why? Hello, Mr. Kaiser. Hey, we got two Kaisers in the chat. Is it two different Kaiser, or is it the one with imposter? Hepta says, I got that error on Android, but restarted and went away. I see. It's the phone stuff. Deadman Kaiser says, on a serious note, really quite interesting to watch. Oh yeah, thanks. It's fun. I'm trying to do what I can. There's a lot of things. I'm trying to get all the nuances of acceleration, jump, and like bounces feel just right. So I'm making this like template or composition nodes that are specifically just for controlling and specifically for just for movement. And this actually helps because this character movement node that controls all the state of like what it means to jump, what it means to run, what it means to attack and stuff like that. I'm using this exactly same node for enemy character, except instead of the controller calling walk, jump, turn around, it's the behavior that's calling that. So look, so this is the enemy, right? I have a character behavior. On an update, on a tick, it says, hey, if there's a player near me and I am allowed to attack, turn to face the player and then do a side attack. Oh, if I'm running, if I can run and I'm already walking, and then there's a ledge near me, turn around. If I've been walking around for 4 seconds, see, I am allowed to idle. I have been walking. And I have been walking around for this many seconds. Then be idle. That kind of stuff, like the behavior, right? This makes it so that controlling programmatically different behavior is a lot easier. So I'm enjoying this. Green says, Mario also has that as well, where you can run across small little gaps. Yeah, I'm aware of that. And I thought it was something that I needed to specifically program it in. But it turns out, because of the way the velocity logic is implemented with the collision, that if you're fast enough, you can just run across a gap. So, happy coincidence. Let's see. Jeez. Kaiser says, I might need to do that. Deadman Kaiser says, oh, hello, Mrs. Kaiser. Oh, I see. Oh, you guys are, I see. You guys, so this was a big con. I thought I had a new customer or new viewer named Kaiser, but now it was just a con job. I was playing the, what do you call it? The cup and balls, and then I got swindled here. That's what it feels like. Dev Kaiser says, okay, I'm back. I can now see the chat clearly. Dev Kaiser says, Ezra, Deadman is the Hubbers. I sent him your course link. Haha. This is great. This is great. Go check out the course. Deadman says, betrayal. How could you expose me, wife? Oh, I love seeing this. That's very cute. You guys. Well, check it out. Have fun. Obviously, as I said, if there's anything that you think the course can be improved with, especially as a paying customer, feel free to tell me because it's fluid. It's fluid. So if something is so confusing, if something is just not described well, or I need to dig deeper into something you feel, let me know. Let me know. All right. Okay, so we got the running character. I like the acceleration so far. What's the next thing we need to do here? Boop, 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 boop. Wow, it really feels like a pretty satisfying game now. Hit effect, I guess. I really wanted to just kind of focus on cleaning this up a little bit, some of the logic, but I guess we could try to be creative and see if we can design some level. Like, what makes it a Hollow Knight, right? We could do parallax background. Ooh. Accidentally making a real game. This was supposed to be a sample game, but I'm about to actually make a game here. Okay. I do want to see what the FPS is, though. 576 consistently. That's not too bad. Does seem to claim that there's an orphan node, but I don't believe it. It's probably because of the pooling. Yeah. Okay, cool. Green Stack or Green I keep calling it Stack. Green Stash Production says, I think I get it. You want to have your levels thoroughly planned out so the player gradually learns each mechanic. Yes. And that's the trick. Gradually is like really like a relative, and then obviously people learn things differently. And you will notice this, by the way. Look at Hollow Knight, look at any like popular platformer. Yes, tutorial is basically thing, but aside from tutorial, okay, do I talk about this now? Because I have a video planned on this topic. It's called self-determination theory. It's a psychological field of study where we talk about, or people study the motivation of why people do the things they do. What makes people want to do things, right? And that's very relevant because the game is made up. Like, there's no reason for anyone to want to do it. Like, why do they want to keep playing a game? What makes them want to play? Because that's the fundamental reason behind, or fundamental thing that you need to understand in order to sell your game, right? So, why do people do things? And there's this thing like intrinsic motivation, extrinsic motivation, right? Extrinsic motivation is your mom told you when you were growing up to finish your food. You didn't want to do it, but you got trained into it. Eventually, that became your personal desire, external, extrinsic motivation, turning into intrinsic motivation. And then now you want to do it. Not only do you want to do it, you want to tell other people to do it. Right? But thing is, the important part is that transition between somebody telling you what to do or somebody telling you to do something and then it becoming your desire. What happens in between those things? Anyways, there's something more organized thought that I could talk about probably in the future. But the point is, we want to do things. If you analyze it in a game, we want to feel the satisfaction of imagining something, imagining doing something, and being able to do it. And then if there's a challenge of getting to that point of matching my imagination and finally arriving at that satisfaction, there's a friction that's required in order for that to feel good, right? A lot of times people do self-control that friction, right? If a game is really difficult or game is really hidden, people find that satisfaction. There are people who are like, I'm just going to discover this myself. I find satisfaction in figuring it out. I find satisfaction in being a pioneer of this information. And then there are people who are like, you know what? This was hard. I tried it once or twice. I feel fine. I just want to do the mechanics of the performance as opposed to discovery. So I'm going to go look up wiki. There's a huge population for that, right? But suddenly, if a game requires you to search wiki in order for you to enjoy the game for a certain population, did the game fail? Or does the game have a portion that satisfies both of those people? You know, like it's that kind of stuff. So that whole ramp up thing is that. It's like you can do this, you can imagine yourself doing it, but then you can't quite do it the first try, or you can and you feel special. And then you want to go beat your friends, right? In a chess, like you just learned your new move and you're like going and showing it off. You want to show off. And then at a certain point it gets boring because now you can predict what's going to happen. And that's where the next challenge comes through. And I think that's why like competitive games are really like addicting, because there's always moving meta. It's always changing. The challenge, you are at a level of like completely overwhelming the opponent, and then you have this like people at your level who is like giving you that friction, and you're trying to discover like, so that's the whole level design aspect, I think. Detman Kaiser says, I feel like I'm jumping into a pool halfway into the deep end watching this. I'll definitely need to look back at the basics. Yeah. Dev Kaiser says, as a technical writer, I'll hit you upside the head. Huh? About what? About what? Anyways, yes, technical writer, do hit me up inside of my head. I don't know what the word was. The course? Okay. Sorry. Is it too much? Hey, look, to be fair, I have a team. And this is the thing. I planned the lesson, I did the video, I reviewed it, and I wrote a lot of it, but there's also stuff that I'm catching. I'm like, this should be changed, but it's a lot to review. But I appreciate any and all feedback. Let's see. Most definitely, yeah. Falsafi, forgot your real name, but yes, hi. Hi, Ezra. I hope you're passing a good day. I'm having a good day. Green Stash says, I think I get it. No, we already talked about that. Oh, neat. Yes. Rendell says, hello from Melbourne again. Hi, Rendell. I remember. Just got up and working from home this week, so can have you on in the background. That's good. I'm glad I can be the voice of reason behind your head. Rendell says, no visual effect when running at max velocity? You mean like the little dust and stuff like that? I guess that's a good idea. We could add that. That shouldn't be too difficult. Green Stash Production says, I am a composer and I find making music can be surprisingly similar to designing a level in a game. With my composition, I'll introduce a melody and gradually expand on it through the piece, much like designing a level where you introduce new gameplay mechanic before ramping it up in difficulty and expand on it. Yeah, I really think all forms of art, and that's also why I feel strongly that game development can be kind of like form of art in some sense. Well, also art with different purposes, right? There's a pop art, and then there's a art for artists, right? You know, like, so whole like ramping up human, we love pattern, we love learning pattern, we love understanding pattern, and then we love seeing how that can change. Oracle says, Pop Tart? Yes, Pop Tart. Just pop it into the toaster and then you're good. I don't know. I love having this conversation. Not because I know a lot. It's just intriguing to just like have like a back and forth of like thought design, like thought process. It's fun. Where was I? I was oh yeah. Music, art, story, novel, movie, games, right? You have that. You have that to have people experience a certain feeling. it could be pure enjoyment. It's like, I just want people to be impressed. Is that the goal? Who do you want to impress? Do you want to impress other artists, other game developers, other game designers, avid game players, or new game players? Right? That purpose, that audience changes how you implement this impressiveness. Right? If person is at a level where they can't even understand all the complex and nuanced thing you've done, let's say in music, when they see it, they won't be impressed at the level that would satisfy you. You know, you're ultimately you're trying to communicate your knowledge. You want people to understand and acknowledge what you know. Either that can be a story of like, I have this deep emotional feeling when I experience something. I want you to experience that, but my experience is built up over the years. Built up over the years of building my story. How do I communicate that to you through a single game, single movie? And that's the artistic process, I think, for me at least. Up dim says, hi, how are you doing, bro? I'm doing well. We're doing okay. We're having fun. We're having a good time. We are making our games. Okay. So no run animation right now. No visual effect. What we can do, you know what we can do? We can do, I mean, do I do this right now? We can make it look like it's running more. You know what? I'm not going to worry about that just now. I don't have time for that. I do have time for that, but I don't want to do it right now. I don't want to spend time on that. Okay. All right, we have the game. We have a simple test level. What else do we need? Do we need to like add little blinking? Maybe we'd do a little blinking when enemies get hit. Because like I can use some time to clean this up, but that could be a little bit too much. So let's do character movement. So I'm gonna say take damage, which is knock back. We'll also have behavior. I guess technically some movement. I mean, it's just a behavior, so functional called perform phase toggle or blink. And then you could be like count. Do I need to specify that? I don't know. And basically whenever the enemy hits the player, right? Well, enemy is dealt the damage. It's also going to perform blink. Perform blink. And I want to go bop, 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 bop. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll do 4 blinks. And then we'll do that on player character as well. On character, when character is dealt damage, it's going to get knocked out, knocked back, and it's going to perform a blink. Mech says, hi, please, what is the most issue people face when programming? What is the most problem people face when they're programming? I don't know. I personally don't have any issues that I can't figure out. Like eventually, it's big part of programming is research. And then Google exists. So that really, like, what is a problem? I would really would love to know. UpDM says, please, can you show me the game? Yeah, sure. I can show you the game. I mean, okay, so once again, everyone, I know a lot of people joined here. I just launched a new 30-day Godot beginner course to help beginners learn how to make games from beginning to end. Actually, I should put a turn. In 30 days. Basically, I want people to make this type of platformer in 30 days. So it's my first course I've ever launched, so I'm kind of looking for feedback and stuff like that. So what I'm making right now is this like basic platformer game that kind of plays like Hollow Knight in that, you know, you can swing in different directions, you can bounce off of dangers and enemies, you can control, and then of course it has all the basic platforming features like acceleration, deceleration, running, attacking, and all those things. So this is what it looks like right now. This is not an actual level. This is a test level for me to test different mechanics that is available in the game as I'm programming this. Of course, I drew all these sprites myself, purposely blank-faced with the little grid so that anybody who's using the sprite can take it and make it into their own. There you go. That's what it looks like right now. I was going to make it so that whenever I get damaged or whenever I damage an enemy, they blink. So I created this function on under the movement thing where when the deal is or damage is dealt, I'm going to perform something called blink. Blinking, the movement already takes sprite as part of it. So I'm wondering if I can just simply tween the modulate to alpha to 0 and 1, flicker it instead of tweening it. So let's see. Can I tween? Can you toggle a tween between a value instead of it being gradual? I wonder. I'll look at that. Green says, that's true. Humans do love pattern recognition. Zuzu says, looking for some typing game inspiration. Any thoughts? Typing game? Like typing practice typing game? Like type words? I always thought it would be cool to have like a spell, like a magic game. You know how like that meme, or not meme, but that viral game that got released recently where streamers or people need to like say the spell and then that gets executed? Instead of saying the spell, it's like typing it. But then it's the spell isn't like actual word. It's not like fireball. It's like or something completely crazy. So it's like really hard to type, but you got to memorize it. Like that's part of like learning spells. That could be fun. It's like learning to type gibberish accurately. How do you even do that? Thanks for the sub, Ross. Yeah. Dev Kaiser says, our internet keeps going out, whether it be trash. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, internet's been pretty bad. I'm also actually struggling with my internet right now. It's saying that the outgoing signal is not that great. The Matthew, thanks for the follow. Welcome to Twitch family here. Dev says, our power company was like, my bad. No, dude, that happens all the time. Over here, I'm actually at the like ledge of like the corner where there's a single line that comes down here. Like it's not even like, it's like a offshoot from the main line that comes down to our apartment complex. So whenever there's like a storm, like huge storm and the power goes out, and we have to have our fingers crossed that the internet or power doesn't go out. If it does, like it's out for weeks. Hopefully it doesn't happen. But things are not looking great, especially with like the weather getting really cold. I have a feeling that it's going to snow really hard in Seattle this year or next year, I guess, whatever, this winter. But yeah, Zuzu, what do you think about that game idea? I think that could be fun. All right, so we're going to do some tweening here. And I think instead of ease in and ease out, can I guess you don't really need to tween this. Tween the property. And we can, I wonder, hold on, step. Tween transition type. I'm going to look at all the transition types here. Linear, sine, back, spring, bounce, circular, cubic, elastic, expliquat. No, these are all... Maybe I need to do a method call. Instead of tweening a property, we can tween method. Yes. And then the call function of that method is simply setting the animated sprites. Animation, is it? Sprite animation. and it's set its modulation. Wait, can I not do modulate on this sprite animation? Visibility, modulate. It is a thing. Hold on. Modulate. How about set modulate alpha to 0. I guess we could have a modulate call, which will be a callable, and it could be a function of setting to value. And then we can do this. Can I do that? Tween method call expected. Yeah, that's fine. And then we can call this where the bind is 0. It calls it and it does the value from variant. Tween method, we bind the direction. Creates and append the method tweener. This method is similar to combination of tween callback and tween property. I see. Let's look it up. I think I'm gonna look it up. Godot tween a step change instead of gradual. Let's see what the internet says. Rendell says the hardest issue in programming is define the problem you want to solve. Be it in corporate environment or designing a game, both require design doc and spec. So answer is writing GDC. Yeah, I mean that is the skill set that you end up learning by working. Dev Kaiser says, "Oh yeah, not sure if you saw. So when you purchase the course, does it save your progress or create an account for you?" I didn't see. If you saw, when you purchase the course, does it save your progress or create an account for you? You know what, Dev Kaiser? I'm not really sure the context of the question. You mean like when you go to the course, does it create a account for you? Right? You know what? Hold on to the thought. Hold on to that thought. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Okay. Hold on to that thought. I'll ask. I'll ask my team. Here we go. Are you guys on my Discord? Are you... Let's see. Kaiser. Ah, yes, you're there. Okay. I'll message you. Yeah, when I get the information, I'll message you. Don't feel the need to do any purchasing just yet. If you need to. This is all part of the testing, and it helps a lot. Thanks for being participant on this. Danke schön. All right. Zuzu says could be huge. Yeah, learn new spells once in a while. Yeah, exactly. That could be fun. And then discover new spell. Discovering new spell is hard too. Like you could guess the new spell if you type in gibberish in order to cast a spell, but because there are no like specific words, the discovery of the spell itself is very difficult, right? Because like you're like trying different things, and sometimes it works, and most of the time it doesn't work. It wouldn't work. So like discovering a spell is like adventure and like reading through different mages or wizards log. Like wizard has like, oh, this wizard is known for their like decimate spell, but the secret behind the spell has been lost. And you look at the hint, and then the hint is like, you see there are scrolls of like reasoning and logic and riddles of being like, oh, I used this component of this letter and this component of this letter, and then like whatever, and then like you're like, it's like a weird puzzle. I think that could be really fun. Dev Kaiser says, I already bought it. Oh yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay. No, if you did, no problem. I would love to know what your experience is in that. So, you know what? DM me. DM me so that you can share the picture, screenshots, all the confusing questions. I'll answer you directly. Um, and we'll talk about making sure that you are taken care of here. Sorry. Jeez. Shows how much I'm ready to launch a product. It's okay. We're learning. We're learning. Thank you. Thank you for being the pioneer of this experience. I hope you can still trust me. It's a little scary. It's a little scary. Customer trust is everything for me. So, okay. So step, tweening step. Worst case scenario, I'll give you personal lesson every week. I'll hop on a call and teach your husband every day. That's the worst case scenario. If the course doesn't work, you paid for it. You're getting it. You're going to make a game. Voice says, "As question on the jump and pogo." What? As what? Where is your question? Ask the questions away. I'm also trying to figure out the tweening like suddenly instead of gradually. Type away. I'll read. Godot, can you tween stepwise function? Fruit Superman says, guys, I'm working on 3D coin toss and I want to have control over the outcome. An idea how to do this with physics? Yeah. Are you trying to program, is only variable the force of the flip of the rotation? Because otherwise the rotation itself can be mimicked. So use it, make it so that there's a stationary physics object where the gravity rules apply, but then the rotating motion is programmed. So don't do torque is what I'm saying. And also, here's a trick. You can do the torque and then right before it stops, change the face. You can do that too if you want. Or right, you can at the last minute change the face. Like blur the texture of the coin until it lands, and once it lands, programmatically just step it on there. Otherwise you can do a turn count. Like you can make it so that once it turns a certain amount, you stop turning it, right? Stepwise or discrete value change with Godot's tween system, not by changing the tween interpretation curve, but by chaining tweens. Using tween callback for instant changes or using subtweens for sequences, letting you define exact steps in time. Okay, well, I don't really. Let's see if this is true. Create tween property, the position. This is linear transition. So it's going from blah, blah, blah to 100 linearly. Instant change. You're calling back to the instant. Okay, you're calling back to the function after the tweening is over. And then there's a delay before the next step. Okay, tween callback is the answer, is what I thought the tween method was doing. So tween callback would call this thing immediately, and then we're going to set delay. That would be the delay between the flicker, 0.1 second, and we'll do this. We'll go from full opacity. So we're going out for 0.1 second. We're going up for 0.1 second, going out for 0.1 second, going up for 0.1 second. And we're going to do this 4 times, I think. Ideally, we set count. So we're going to say for I in count, meaning if it's 1, obviously it needs to be return 0, then we're not doing anything, so it also return. We're going to go for this. For I equals number of count, we're going to go out and on. Flicker, flicker, flicker. Probably this should be controllable too, but that's what we're going to do for now. The value is a sprite animation flickering. Cool. Let's try that. Whew, getting a lot of distractions here, but I think that's good. I mean, I'm on here to have a conversation with you guys, so not too worried about that. Let's see. Zuzu says, could be huge. Yeah, learn new spells once in a while. I'd say not gibberish, but somewhat structured. I mean, it could be. It could be Latin. At least something. I mean, like structure is tricky. So this is the thing. We talked about this when you were. Oh my gosh. Okay, that works kind of. I want it to flicker a little bit faster. The tricky part about the structures, it should be structured, but then not structured enough to be able to guess. I don't like the idea of that kind of game having programmatic lock of the spells. Like, for example, kind of like, what is that game? Outer Wild. You know how Outer Wild, if you have all the information, you can finish your game immediately? Like without having to journey everything. I mean, that's part of the information. Only thing that's stopping you from progressing is the information. So I like that idea. There could be really fun game interaction if you like jump in immediately knowing all the expensive spells. But obviously that means you're going to have to make the challenge so that knowing all the spells doesn't immediately make everything like easy, but that could be fun. Dev says, does anyone want a sub? Oh, you're just giving out subs right now. Hey, Void. Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay, I got your question. I'm going to read this in a bit. Fruit Superman says, guys, I'm working on 3D. I already talked about that. Void says, when jumping, setting the player's Y velocity, at what point does it reset? And when you jump and do the pogo, does a Y velocity ever decrease to a point or just increase again? So I made the pogo to hard set the jump force, regardless of which point of jumping I'm in. So pogoing is a jump in itself that cannot be varied. It's set number. I have a duration of initial jump that allows me to add to the jump force, so it feels a little bit glidey, but it works so that you can jump higher or lower. That's what I'm doing, if that makes sense. It also simplifies it for the animation state. So like after pogoing, you're doing normal jump cycle again. First Superman says, oh, you mean no torque and rotate with trees to have odd or even number of evolution with twins? Yes, that's what I mean. Basically, don't tie the rotation to a torque because torque will be consistent. There's no I mean, there's an acceleration initially, right? Like physically speaking, physics, only part that the physics, oh gosh. Hey, thanks for the gifted sub. Wow. How many is that? 5? Hold on. Is somebody knocking on my door? Hey, thanks, Dev Kaiser. I appreciate that. Look at that. Gifted stuff for everyone. I'll be back just a second. I'm not going anywhere. Somebody needed my vacuum cleaner in my room. Hey, thanks for the gifted, though. If I gifted, yay! Empyrean says, thanks! Dylan is saying, do you use a acceleration-based system or pure velocity-based system? And which is better? Depending on the game feel, I like to use acceleration-based system for jumps. And I do different acceleration for different parts. For movement, I noticed that especially for like precise platformer, um, immediate immediate speed like that feels better because you have to do a lot of these like hit back, hit back, hit back. And obviously people can get used to acceleration, but that feels bad. But also I am using acceleration for run speed. So when I hold the run button, I become faster and faster. That one is some sort of acceleration logic so that you get that feeling of increase in ramp. So that's part of the control. But I really think that it depends on the mechanic that you're trying to implement. Dev Kaiser said, whoop, whoop, Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year and Merry Holiday or whatever. Appreciate it. I really do. Wow. This is a huge support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Voice says, I'm reworking my game mechanic, and with the new update, when the player jumps and collides with the new body or surface, since the Y velocity is still high, the player just deflects off the surface. Is there a balance between the right value of gravity, jump force, and speed? Are you talking about like you get launched off, like when you jump in because of the knockback? It's to me, it's a really tight control of I mean, the way I resolved it, I had that issue, by the way. When it's getting knocked off on impact, when I'm just staying still, I wasn't moving much. But then as soon as I start moving, I just get launched into the space. Definitely need to do a really tight state machine where things get hard set at a certain state. And don't be afraid to make a transitional state is how I ended up doing it. Let's get more detail though. I want to know exactly what's going on, Void, so we can talk about this. I also want to make the blink speed faster. The blink is too slow. It's staying transparent too long for my liking, so I'm going to change that real quick. Hey, yo! The hype train has concluded. Thank you, thank you. Oh, wait, level 2 hype train. It's more hype train. Hey, Dev Kazir is just gifting again. You know what? Should I match this? Mike R says, since a lot of people using the state chart add-on lately, I've never used the plugin for state transition before, so I don't actually know. Wow, this is my first time getting to a level 2 hype train. That's pretty sick. Thanks, Kaiser. It's happening, y'all. No, I really appreciate it. Happy New Year. Mike, what do you mean by state chart add-on? Oh, like it has like a chart-based control for state machine? That's pretty sick. Okay, I have a lot of videos I'm working on. That's one of them. Is that truly the best one? Like, it's good. It's good, don't get me wrong. But there comes a point where that visualization doesn't really help anymore. Def Kaiser's like, any more folks want subs? Wow, Santa's here. It's Santa Kaiser. My car. Thanks for the share of the plugin. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Also, this person is really good. I mean, this is basically what I wrote for my own state machine. And I like the icons. I need to learn how to draw vector icons. Like, I don't know which program allows you to draw this. This is a really cool thing. I like the way it looks. State chart, root. Do you get to see the graph with this? Oh, this is pretty sick. Yeah. I mean, why not? Use it. Use it. If it works really well, use it. Compound state. Okay. Seems like it's a pretty thorough state machine. State charts are similar to finite state machine, but they are more powerful and avoid the state explosion problem. Oh, interesting. I'm going to have to look at this. I'm going to have to look at what it actually does in order for me to see and judge. But if a lot of people are using it, it must have really good usage. And there's no reason to make your own, I guess, if it does everything. Um, Josie says, I have you use Limbo AI. What? Oh, have I used Limbo? No, I haven't. Mike R says Inkscape. Inkscape for SVG icons. Okay. Thank you. I'll have to remember that. Dylan says, how is using Godot? I use C# monogame, and I've heard my friends whine about Unity, so how's Godot? Godot's pretty good. It does everything you need it to do, especially if you're just focusing on 2D games. 3D part of the engine is actually improving quite a lot. It does most things that it needs to do. I think it's pretty feature parity with Unity, I guess minus the render pipeline. But thing is, because it's open source and there's a huge community that's always developing and cutting issues and whatnot, that finding something similar or better is probably not, outside of the realm of possibility. And also, you don't even need all the C languages. Even the GD script, the native scripting language that the Godot uses, does everything pretty efficiently. Josie says, have you used Limbo AI? Sorry, no, I don't usually use AI. I haven't used it that much, not for coding at least. I mean, I do it for like spell checking. I do it for like maybe tone checking, and like I ask stuff like, is this like level grade 8 reading level type of thing, and then like I take everything they say with a grain of salt. But I really haven't used any type of AI for helping with me, or helping with my projects in general. I find it okay. I do have accounts on things like Gemini and ChatGPT, because there are some, it's helpful for researching like new information, and then I'd always double check. Before the things I already know is not very hard, or it's not very good for me. Bruce says, oh, Limbo AI for behavior trees, I think, not like generative AI. Am I right? Oh, sorry. I've done the thing that I complained about last time, which is AI is not Gen AI in general. I didn't know that Limbo AI is a thing. I have never used it, sorry. But I have made my own AI plugin with the GOAP and behavior tree and stuff like that. We'll take a look. If you like it, you like it. Hey, thanks for the bit, Kaiser. Was it so for basically the character rotates to surface it collides with. Okay, hold on. Just give me a second. Mike R says, for indie game devs, Godot is perfect. Going AAA with 3D, you might find limits, of course. Josie also said Illustrator, Inkscape, and Affinity Designer for vector art. Cool. Ironically, I do have Adobe Studio. I just never use any of the programs. Because I use, like, for example, for Photoshop, I mean, Photoshop has different functions, but I find myself using Clip Studio more just because I'm used to drawing on Clip Studio. I can do most things. Hey, Very Cherry. I probably will be streaming for another 2 hours or so, or another hour maybe at most. First Superman said, I think it's an add-on on Godot. Ooh, you know what? There are a lot of add-ons out here. I don't really use enough of them. Oh, look at that. That's pretty sick. I'm sure this is great. Look, this looks so complete. It's like what I'm trying to make, except better and complete, because they spent a lot more time. I can't claim to have made this even better or worse, but I'll show you what I have. Is that okay with you guys? Here, let me show you. Hey, thanks for the 100 bits. Dev guys are really just in a mood for giving today. This is just giving. You know what? I'll take it. I appreciate it. Dev Kaiser says, I'm trying to figure out this hype train lol. Oh yeah, the hype train finished just now, so we got level 2, so we get I think we get more what do you call, more emotes and stuff that you can use. Yeah. Hey, Vericherry says, you're the cutest streamer ever. Oh, thank you. I appreciate the sentiment. Cute is relative, isn't it? Mike R says, I want to have a node-based system for my BT like Unreal and Unity have. Yeah. Okay. Fruit Superman. No, not Fruit Superman. The Josie code. If you're still here, I'll show you something real quick. I don't know if you were here before, but I have this thing called behavior tree state machine slash GOAP plugin that I was making for myself. Actually, I made it for a video and myself. But basically, you can see my behavior tree. There's two different types of behavior. And if you look at my berry folk and look at my behavior, you can see that this one has go and drop behavior, which does walk to the target and drop the item. I have go and pick up behavior, which is walk to the target and pick up target. And this behavior tree also does this behavior type called selector and sequence, which is a standard practice, right? Sequence is do everything until it fails. Selector is do everything until one succeeds. Collection of these things. So I have this behavior tree that works automatically, that executes blah, blah, blah. And implementation is that it's an abstract class where you can implement this, execute. And part of the execution is that you just need to return the update result, and it runs every tick. So on every tick, for example, the walk to the target stuff, I can either say, hey, I'm still walking to it and say I'm in progress of this behavior, or I failed this behavior because the condition doesn't satisfy anymore. And then, the parent behavior will do blah, blah, blah. And this one, I use this behavior tree as a driver for my GOAP, which is goal-oriented action planning, which uses the state of the world to pathfind into finding a behavior path that will achieve a goal. So for example, here, this particular sample I showed the other day, a lot of you guys probably saw it already, is this, right? So I have a berry folk, and all I did was I created some behaviors of tilling the ground, picking up items, and then dropping items, planting seeds, and activating things, and then picking up stuff, right? And it just auto decides what to do based on the state of the world. Right? It's like, oh, okay, well, there's a seed. I'm going to plant it. So I till the ground first in order to do that. A plant is dying. I'm going to go get water. Oh, the plant is watered. That's good. New berry. Oh, I don't need to water it anymore. I'm not going to do anything. Well, new seed came through. If I spawn more seed, they're going, oh, I'm going to create a seed, blah, blah, blah. So this one uses my behavior tree implementation and goal-oriented action planning. So I didn't make my own stuff. So because I'm a content creator and a kind of like a scholar, if you will, of this world, that I like making my own things, but what I don't do enough is looking at already existing solution. Oh, but I do want to show this cool thing, by the way. The goal-oriented action planning. Dev Kaiser's like, my brain, it's too much. Yeah, I just spoke really fast too. Thanks for the follow, Codename Roy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, thanks for the follow, Danielle Stack. I didn't see you. Sorry. Danielle. RV says, I've tried both. Godot feels easier to understand. I like Godot. I've tried Unity before. It was easy to understand, but also Unity is so slow. It's so bloated now. It took me a while to turn it on my work computer back in the day. Okay, so let me show you my goal-oriented action planning to prove to you that it's easy. Okay? Okay. So berry folk here. We have goal actions, right? These are all the actions that can happen within the goal. And look, only thing you need to describe within the action node, which I guess, hold on. Is it under berry folk? So behavior, let me try to open something. Okay, berry folk here. We have berry folk action planner. You see all these things? These are all the things that the berry folk can try to do, right? Drop item, get seed, get water, water plant, plant seed, use well, till ground. I'm not specifying what to do. Okay. But if I open it, if I open the code, all it describes is is this action doable? Is this something that I can do right now in the current state? And then what happens to the world state if I do those things? And all I do is I define a goal, right? I define the state that I want to arrive at. So for example, where is it? It's somewhere. Action planner gets called somewhere. Uh, do, 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 do. Behavior. Ah, there it is. So look. So these are actions of, hey, if this behavior happens, do these things. But basically, the decision tree is this. So I'm choosing a goal. Berry Folk comes here and says, hey, if there's a thirsty plant, my goal is this state. So the state is the snapshot of current world right now, -1 thirsty plant. There are thirsty plants, so I want there to be less thirsty plants. And saying every other part is optional, there, because state has like a bunch of stuff, because I don't want it to be exact match. I'm saying only pay attention to the count of thirsty plant. I want that to go down by 1. And so I say required state property is a thirsty plant count. Everything else is optional. I want that to go down by 1. Give me a plan of action. And that's how it determines what to do. And that's pretty cool, right? I liked it. Like it was like, oh, like for each of the behavior, all I had to do was describe when it's available and what happens once it runs. Like this is so like manageable to program. Look how easy it is to program this. And all of a sudden we have a decision tree. I'll have you know though, it is very heavy on the processing because it's a Dijkstra's pathfinding, right? So it blows up quite a bit if you don't filter down available actions rapidly. That's the only downside. Let's see. Mike R says, I started with MDX, then XNA a long time ago. Have also done a lot of Unity and Unreal. Before my indie stuff at the moment, I'm staying with Godot, but I still work a lot on monogame projects specifically, or especially the last 2 years. Yeah, preference is preferences. It's okay, whatever you choose as long as it works. I'm going to trigger a lot of people here. You can choose and fight for any game engine and all game engine you want. Game engine is not gonna make a difference in if you finish your game or not. Game engine doesn't determine if you finish your project or not. So, really, who should we blame here, right? Thanks for the follow, Octilius. Mike Carr says, Ezra, have you done much with the vehicle system in Godot? No, I have not. I'm not really sure what that is. Like car vehicle? Mike Carr says, you still need to use the best tool for the job. Doing simulations, I still did the, yeah, well, obviously. Okay, don't take this too seriously, okay? What I'm saying is where there's a will, there's way, Like, yes, obviously. Like, but technically speaking, you can do everything any engine can do with, technically, if you have the aptitude for it, with a custom engine, right? It's just that the tools help a lot. Like, you can unscrew and screw Phillips screw with a flat head, very difficult to do it, and you may strip the screw, but it's doable, Dylan says, why not use A star for pathfinding? So yeah, you can, but you're talking about the pathfinding for the behavior. Hard to use A star on behavioral tree pathfinding because there's no innate distance formula. How do you determine, right? because the location, which is defined by the world state, is relative to the previous state as you go down the tree, it's hard to just say this is the action we want to arrive at, and then filter down everything. Because in a, like, when you're given the next actions you can take, the A star dictates that you take priority towards something that is physically closer first, so that it is, you don't have to go through everything, so that you are luckier. But how do you determine which of this following action is closer to your goal physically? I feel like there's a way to do it. Like, you just need to like hard code or like hard define what each action means, and then use that as like a star like implementation. But in a general implementation, I don't see how I can generalize that yet. It might be my lack of knowledge. Sahil says baby shark do 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 do, and keeps singing that. Hi, Shayom. Voice says an artist doesn't blame his tools. It's true. Mike R says my default for VR has always been Unity, but with what the guys are doing now with Godot XR, it is getting close to on par with Unity. Yeah, they're trying hard. It's kind of amazing. So I went to Godot Con the other day, while back, and the amount of things that they're developing that is completely outside of the things that I'm actively working on is kind of staggering. How many people are working on this? Anyobin says hello. Hi, Anyobin. Welcome, welcome. Anyways, I lost context entirely of what I was doing. I have no idea what I'm doing right now. All right, Dev Kaiser, got you. All right, there we go. What next? What next? Okay, we got the game. Oh, we were flickering. Okay, oh my gosh. For the past hour, I think I've been trying to make this flicker of the animation shorter, but we got derailed a little bit. It's okay, though. I'm not here to be productive. I'm here to have a conversation with you, so don't feel bad. Thanks for the hydrate, Anyobin. Drink water. I'm parched. Okay, so what I want the flicker. I want the transparent to happen with a shorter delay. I want it to be visible more, 0.1 second. Maybe I do it even less. Do like that. Will that work? Let's see. I don't know how minute these transitions can be. We'll see. Oh, that feels better. That looks better, doesn't it? All right. No hit animation just because I got too lazy to draw them. Oh, shoot. Sorry. Void, I feel like I didn't answer your question. I need to get back to answering his question. Void was asking like, how do you reset the jumps and stuff like that? Void was saying, so before basically the character rotates. So Void has a platformer where the character rotates to the surface it collides with. So when the player jumps, the Y velocity increases and doesn't come back down quick enough. So when it collides with another surface, it rotates to it. And since the velocity is still high, it shoots off the surface. That's sliding. You need to turn off sliding. Or you make it so that if it hits ceiling, like utilize that, right? Like there's the is ceiling or is floor. If you wanted to not slide, or if you wanted to reset, if you want to just like flip the velocity, because that's what you can do, right? You can just flip the velocity to negative or set it to 0 so that it starts falling on if you detect is on ceiling. I think that's something you can do, right? Have you tried that? I'm sure you have. I just am curious what the behavior is if you do that. Or does that even make sense? So like this is a default character body function that you're very well aware of that is calculated by the direction of the impact. And I'm sure subject is on ceiling is part of it. And when it comes to rotation, maybe you do need to, if the rotation is part of the mechanic, Um, I feel like this will work. And also, in regards to ceiling and sliding, the slide on ceiling, if true, during a jump against the ceiling, the body will slide. Yeah, I mean, you might have to. The thing is, like, you might have to, like, mess with some of these or restructure your states and control states to make sure it works in the way that you want. You just need to be really tight with that, I feel. You know? Alternatively, you can make the ceiling have a non-collision area. Because if you rely on physics, so a lot of the Godot physics or even just regular game platforming and stuff like that, these like actual collision logic based on the collision box that's based on physics misbehaves because it also has a baked in logic of on the current tick, if your player goes through the collision box, it'll pop you out. It calculates the closest point outside of the collision box to pop you out and then continue the physics simulation, right? And that can make it so that there's like weird bug of like jumping and bouncing and stuff that you don't want it to do. And I found it a lot easier to just get rid of the collision box and use area 2D. So for this one, right? Like I don't make enemies collide anymore, right? That's I found out that putting a collision box that interact with the player is just bad juju. Like you can go through, and I think you might have to, if it really doesn't work out for you, you might have to have a margin that's just area detection as opposed to collision detection. Void says, yeah, that's why I switched to raycast. Yeah, raycast. Obviously, it has its own thing, own issue. But this works pretty well, so I'm not complaining. I mean, obviously, there are more things that I need to worry about, but look, I have a basic platforming. I can actually make a level now. Though I don't know what the level would be. Like, what is the challenge here? That's what I need to add. Imagine if I add a sound effect by just like recording my voice here. Uh, sh, sh. I wonder if that will be funny or just off-putting. Voice says, looks cool though. Thank you. It kind of reminds me of Maple Story, actually. The pixel art made is kind of like very Maple Story like. Oh, I just lost a hearing hair. I just got a little ringing in my ear. Voice says, thanks for the advice though. Yeah, no problem. I mean, obviously, like, there's like, I could just hop on a call with you to look at it. Like, because my answer would be completely different once I see your game, right? You want to do that, Void? If you have time, maybe one of the weekends. A free service for being a avid viewer and a friend. Oh my gosh. And even says skill issue on your own game. Can relate. Dude, it's so hard. Like, I don't think, like, for a while, I thought it was impossible to get to the top. Like, I set this level up just like as an idea, but it's really hard. This is like, I feel like it's definitely worse than Hollow Knight Pogo. And I have a feeling it's just really too fast, maybe. Like, this part feels okay. But this part, like, that timing feels kind of awful. Here. All right. I mean, it might be the threshold of when it's considering it as down attack as opposed to side attack. Maybe I need to make the threshold for down attack a little bit bigger. Maybe that'll make it feel better. And we're doing a lot of nuances that's not really required, but so X is dead zone. I think we're probably we're rounding Y for down attack here, meaning the stick shift has to be like 0.5 or greater in order for this to register. I think what I'm going to do instead, right, is instead of rounding it, I'm going to put an actual threshold value. If the Y, let's do 0.1 and see if that makes... The frustration is always like, man, this like, it's either it does the down and up attack way too easily, or it doesn't do the side attack like here. I'm trying to do side attack, but it's doing up attack instead. Yeah, like that. So 0.1 might be a little bit too much. Maybe the threshold for the up attack and down attack is different. I feel like you kind of need to do that. So we can make up attack threshold to be like 0.3, but down attack threshold to be 0.1, maybe 1.5. Hey, Ginger Dev, what's up? What's up? Yeah, that might. Okay, a little bit more. 0.3. It's 225. I mean, this type of fine tuning isn't. I don't know how necessary this is. I mean, it's like a huge huge part of the game feel. But you know, okay, that feels a little bit better, I think. I definitely need a dash too. Oh my goodness. Oh gosh. Ah, come on. Oh my gosh. Anya Bin is like 3 minutes of ad. Nice. Oh, sorry. Sorry, everyone who's stuck in the ad. Hey, look. Your creator has to make living somehow. Can't be just supported by Dev Kaiser alone. They've got Dev Kaiser and their husbands already done enough of a support here for the entire year, I think. Watch a few ads, okay? Whisper says, "Hello world." Hello, Whisper. Oh my goodness. How many people do you think will sign up to an individual streamer's like personal streaming website if you get ad-free viewing of that specific streamer for like $1 a month? I wonder if people will do that. I mean, I don't think they would do that because doesn't being a sub free you from the ads, right? And that's like $2.55 anyways. And then if people are not willing to do that already, I guess I don't know if the dollar feels different from like $2.55. Does it? I don't know. Okay, sorry guys, I'm just like playing my game now. Okay, the blink feels really nice. Movement still feels a little bit weird. Like something about the bounce and hitting your head against the ceiling feels little off. Oh, coyote time. That's right. We got to do coyote time. So coyote time is if I'm running and then if I'm off the platform, if I'm not on the floor anymore, I get certain amount of time where I am still allowed to jump of the corner. So let's do that. So what we're going to do here for the movement, I think, and I think it's a movement configuration. So we'll say, we'll put a, hi Anubin, welcome back from the Ed jail. Say coyote time. And by default, it's 0 seconds. Before player, we're going to say, okay, we're going to allow for 0.1 seconds of coyote time, which means can jump, right? Actually, I guess I should probably start the timer, reset the timer every time I'm on the floor. So we have on the floor, on floor, or time since off floor, right, which is float. And then this one is going to get added during the process, which already has here on every loop. Instead of physics process, I want to do this on the process because physics process runs consistently. We'll try to. And process runs every time it can. It's like a physics update versus just regular update. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say time since off floor will get the delta on it if is on floor is false. The subject is on floor is false. So like that. Otherwise, this one is going to be reset to 0. And basically, the can jump logic will say, hey, either you are on the floor or time since off the floor is less than coyote time. Then I'm actually allowed to jump still. So I'm allowing for 0.1 seconds. Oh, my controller is about to die. Oh, floor, float. Ooh, don't crash on me. Okay. So we have this, and then we can now jump off the corner pretty well, I think. Yeah, that was definitely a coyote time. I wonder how long I can. 0.1 second is quite a bit. Hold on. Or hold on. Maybe 0.1 second. Let's see. Hold on. Oh, that's right. That's right. Oh. Uh, because coyote time allows me to jump because it allows me to jump in the air. As long as I'm within that 0.1 second, I can continue to jump. That's kind of funny. All right. 0.1 second seems like it's a lot, actually, for some reason. That is not intended. Is this calculating properly? Time since off the floor will be delta. As long as that is less than coyote time, jump is allowed. I want to do something. I need to make sure that I'm not already ascending. If I'm falling for coyote time, yeah. So if I'm ascending, meaning I've already jumped, I don't want this to be allowed. Subject state is ascending, I think. And time since off floor is less than coyote time. 0.1 second, is that long? Wait, I am ascending. Oh, because I guess I'm falling. But I haven't been on the floor for quite a while. Arv says, have you already made any financially successful games with Godot? No, I have not. I will be proud, proud and honest about that. The goal is I will, okay? Don't get me wrong. I have made technically and launched projects in a company that are well known, but I guess I did piggyback off of the name of the company. So I haven't proved myself yet, but within this year, I'm going to try to prove myself. Okay. So watch me, follow along and see if I do prove myself or not. You know? Yes. Okay. Interesting. Seems like the number is not resetting. If the subject is on floor. Oh, other way around. Whoopsies. That's why. On floor reset. Okay, that makes more sense here. Okay, it still allows me to double jump here. Mike R says, Ezra, that makes two of us. Plan is also to release something this year. Let's do it. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Okay. That's a bit of that feels a little bit more appropriate in terms of coyote time. That feels is it a little too forgiving? It might be. That's a little bit too forgiving, I think. Why is it still going? That should be reducing. If you're on the floor, set it to 0. Otherwise, print. So if I'm printing... Josie says, me too. Yes, let's all make a game. Okay. 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 I mean, 0.1 doesn't feel that bad. I could make it tighter. Let's make it so that the coyote time is like 0.06. A slight bug, I'm guessing. If I'm jumping, if I do a short jump, and if the short jump duration is like technically, like you can kind of I don't know. There's something about this feels a little off, but I don't know. Maybe it's okay. All right, with this new coyote time, we're really cooking here. I think. Yin says,